Good morning, everyone. So we are going to start our essay with our DBQ. So this is how you do it. You want to log into the DBQ portal. Your assignments are already logged in for you on DBQ, and you have already did documents A, B, C, and D. So now we're ready to start writing our essay, just like we would normally do if we were in class. So the title of our essay is North or South, Who Killed Reconstruction? And just to go back, remember we talked about the KKK, and we talked about how they were a group of white supremacists that didn't want African Americans to rebuild or reconstruct themselves after the Civil War. So let's look at the essay builder and how we're supposed to be doing these buckets. All right, so you've done background essay questions, document A, B, C, and D, and if you have not, you need to immediately go to Essay Builder. For today's assignment, you're going to start bucketing, and what that means is you're going to review the documents, which are documents A, B, C, and D, and organize them into your final buckets. Drag the letters of the documents into the buckets, and then type the bucket labels. Feel free to add or delete a bucket. It is okay to put a document in more than one bucket. And remember, your buckets are going to become your body paragraphs. So I know in class we talked about having your hamburger, right? And your top bun is your introduction, and your bottom bun is your conclusion. Well, these three buckets are like your meat, lettuce, and let's just say ketchup. Let's say cheese. Okay? So these are your three body paragraphs, just like we would do if we were in class. After analyzing all of the documents and going back to the question, which was who killed Reconstruction, you want to start organizing your writing, because remember, the first thing you have to do is brainstorm and organize. So here you have the documents listed. On the side, you'll have document A, B, C, and D. So, well, I have to determine what I want my paragraphs to be about, because each paragraph has to have a main idea. So, since the question is who killed Reconstruction, I'm going to talk about who the KKK is. That's going to be my first paragraph. I'm going to talk about who they are, what they do, and what they're for. Okay? So I need to find a document that explains who the KKK is. So let me look at document A again. If you click on it, it picks it back up. Let's see. Torgy was a white Northern soldier who settled in North Carolina after the Civil War. He served as a judge during Reconstruction. So this talks about how the KKK killed people and what they did. Let's see if there's another one. I'm going to keep that in mind, but let's look and see if there's another one. The Klansman broke my door open. This is from a former slave. This one talks about, remember we talked about this very good in the live session on Friday about Grant in his presidency. And then the last one, this talks about how African Americans were portrayed. Let me go back to document B. Remember this picture here? This picture kind of shows who the KKK are, what they do and what they stand for. So I'm going to take document B, drag it over here. And what this tells me is when I get ready to write, I'm going to use evidence from document B to explain to my audience who the KKK is. So my next paragraph can talk about how African Americans, and I'm abbreviating because I am brainstorming, African Americans was African American experiences after the Civil War. Or let's just say African American experiences during the Civil War. So I remember one of these documents, I did document A already, was from an actual slave. So that's a great document to put in here because it gives a primary source of how slaves felt. And I can also put in document A because it talks about somebody from the North that moved in and how they felt. Let me see, document C. No, that wasn't it. Was it document B? Yeah, it was document B. This is from a former slave. This is what he wrote. So I definitely need this in this paragraph. And it's okay to use your documents twice. Remember it says it is okay to put a document in more than one bucket. So it's okay to have document B in both. Alright, what do you think the last one should be about? So let's have who the KKK is, African American experience after Civil War. This one can be how the government responded to Reconstruction. And this also talks about KKK. So they were killing people. So I'm definitely going to put A in there. C can go in there too. But I want you to get the drift. So this is my example. You can use this as an example in the model, but you don't have to use the same exact thing that I have. I would actually rather you come up with your own bucket so it can, have your own voice to it. So after you're done with this part of it, you move on to your thesis. Does anybody remember what a thesis is? Right, your thesis is the answer to the question. And the question is, who killed Reconstruction? So on the chicken foot below, you're going to write your thesis and your roadmap. Your thesis is what you're going to argue in the paper. And it must answer the DBQ question, which is who killed Reconstruction. The roadmap is preloaded from the bucket labels and lists the topic areas you would examine in order to prove your thesis. If you would like to change the order of your roadmap, drag the toe of the chicken foot to a new position. This also changes the order of your buckets. If you would like to change the words in your roadmap, you may do so by changing your bucket labels. So here's your thesis. In this particular area, you're going to answer the question, who killed Reconstruction? Well, in my opinion, the KKK killed Reconstruction. And that's it for today. That's all you have to do for social studies for today. Now, let me remind you, if you have not done documents A, B, C, and D, you have to do that first before you go to the rest of these documents, or you're going to be lost. Okay? Secondly, if you need to look for additional resources, remember we talked about credible sources, find them. That's okay with me. The two that we use in class would be Ducksters and biography.com are two wonderful sites, but you may find others while you're at home doing your distance learning. Okay? If you have any questions, please hang out me or message me on Dojo or Hangouts between the hours of 9 and 2, and I'll be readily available to answer you. If you decide, if you're working on your assignments after 2 o'clock, you can still message me and I will message you back first thing in the morning. All right, happy learning.